Hello everyone and welcome back to RainBro Crafts. My name is Colton and today I will be making for you our Jungle Waterfall soap. Just like every other soap, we will start by adding our lye water solution into our plant-based oil blend. You may have noticed if you've watched our videos for a little while, a couple common themes here in terms of safety, protective equipment, those sorts of things. So you may have seen me jiggle around the stick blender in our oils, and that is to remove any air bubbles at the bottom of the stick blender to prevent bubbles from splashing up when you start blending. When you're working with lye, you can't be too careful. The second thing is you'll see that I pour the lye water down the shaft of the stick blender, and this is to also help so it doesn't plop out of the oil when you're adding in that lye water to prevent splashbacks and those sorts of things. We will next add in our fragrance oil, which is Jungle Waterfall from Brambleberry. This is a really good cedarwood, sandal, lavender, citrusy blend. It's a really great kind of all-around scent. Back to safety while I'm blending this up. You'll also see that I wear long sleeves, or I have like forearm guards on. That's to prevent any lye from getting on my skin. And we're always wearing gloves, which you can sometimes see they're clear. And then we also always are wearing safety glasses, and we are in a well-ventilated area, so usually we have the screen door open or the exhaust fan on or anything like that. For the Jungle Waterfall soap that I'm making, I'm splitting off the soap batter into 4 separate parts. We're going to leave one of these parts uncolored. We will be doing a blue waterfall color, a like leafy green color for the jungle, and then we're going to be doing a coppery brown color as well. So you'll see me adding those into the appropriate vessels here. We also, in terms of safety, designate only soap making equipment, spoons, spatulas, bowls, all of that stuff. Once it is used for soap, it does not get used for anything else. It stays in one area. If we wash the dishes, it gets washed separate from any other dishes that we use, maybe like our plates and cups and those sorts of things. We will just be blending in this colorant into the soap batter. You will see here that the soap batter is very, very runny, and that is 100% my fault. I didn't blend this up quite enough. No particular reason, but when I was making this, I remember thinking that it was a lot runnier, but the damage, if you want to call it that, had already been done, and I couldn't just blend it up more. You'll see here in a minute we're going to do an in the pot swirl, and once it's in the pot, you can't really do very much about it. So we are going to dump in the blue, the green, into that brown Cambro, or the brown soap batter Cambro. And you'll see here what I mean by it's really thin. It's kind of getting a little muddy, which is a little concerning. And at this point in the soap making process, I was worried about glycerin rivers, which can happen a couple different ways. One of them being there's too much liquid in your soap. One of them being that it's under blended, and one of them being that there is too much colorant in the soap batter. So I think this was a combination of slightly under blended and also a little bit too much of colorant as well, because we used a little bit more in this than we normally would. But anyways, we're dumping all of that soap batter in. We are reserving a little bit of that blue and green, and then you'll see off to the right hand side or left hand side, depending on how the video is going to show up, in that little glass measuring pitcher, some uncolored soap base, and we're going to be doing a really cool feathering technique on the top. So while the inside of this bar might not look exactly how I was planning or hoping, the top looks really great. So we definitely will be utilizing that technique again for the top and just being a little more cautious, if you want to call it that, with the amount we are blending our soap batter. But you know what? Still, this soap smells great. It works great. So no harm done. It might just not look as good as maybe what I personally would want. But usually you have higher standards of yourself than maybe what other people might. But you'll see while I've been chatting here, I'm just running some colors in straight lines front to back. And then I wanted to do a drop swirl of white, and it kind of worked, kind of didn't. I think maybe if I would have done this before the other lines, it would have worked a little bit better, but it still looks really good. So we'll empty out that container as well, get out all of that soap batter because we are all done here. Set that all aside and get out our trusty chopstick, and we are going to do some feathering technique across the top of this soap slab. So left to right here, we will be just really putting in our chopstick maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch into that soap batter to just get the top a nice texture. And I'm just going to be really careful with this and not overdo it. I don't want to get the colors on the top looking too muddy, which there is a fine line here. We'll clean up the edges. We will spritz the top of this with some rubbing alcohol. Tuck it away in 24 hours. Look at how cool that top looks. It looks kind of like a woven blanket or something like that. But we will just be splitting the loaves with our slab splitter here with the assistance of Becky, who is our chief creepy officer. In the background there, you'll see Becky sitting and watching. She is always watching. We are just slicing away. We will put that little thin piece aside to fold into a new batch of soap. You can see that really cool kind of watery design and that really awesome top there. And kind of like I feared, you can't see it that much in this. There are some glycerin rivers, which is fine. It doesn't hurt you while you're using this. It still soaps fine. It just looks a little crackly, a little bit like stained glass maybe, and usually towards the center of the loaves is where it's the worst, and on the edges it is the least amount. This still looks really cool. It kind of gives a foresty, jungle watery vibe, which is exactly what we were going for. It is really hard to beat a brambleberry fragrance oil, so this definitely smells really, really great. So we'll just slice this up here. And there it is. That is our Jungle Waterfall soap, which will be for sale in person and online April 1st. Also a reminder, we have a subscription service. So if you want discounts on products and your name at the end here, like Janine, our foamy homie, and Liana, our suddy buddy, check out our subscription tab on our website. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see what RainBro Crafts comes up with next. Bye.